When you create a product mascot, a face for your company, you want them to be confident in the product that they are selling or representing. However, if you make their personality too confident, they may become a bit arrogant, which is not always a bad thing. The issue is, for mascots that become too smug, the consumer may be turned away from buying those brands that cannot relate to the common man. Though if the mascot is supposed to represent the antithesis of the product or is self-aware, then it can still be effective and beloved to an extent. So for this video, I'll be looking at the product mascots that fall into the arrogant category, either on an intentional or unintentional level. They will be ranked on how pompously they portray themselves. And of course, arrogant does not mean bad or unappealing. I actually enjoy the antics of some of these mascots. So let's take a look at the top 10 most arrogant product mascots. Number 10. Mr. Mucus for Mucinex. This mascot is meant to be arrogant and hated since he's exactly what the product is trying to get rid of, so he's doing his mascot job correctly. He makes his home in your lungs so it's harder for you to breathe, just like real mucus. He knows exactly what he's doing and he thinks he has your respiratory system figured out. He acts like he owns the place. However, he forgot about the power of medicine, and then he's homeless. Maybe I'll feel bad for you when you sign a lease. Number 9. The Axe Body Spray Claymation Caveman. Axe only used this guy once to advertise their Lynx body spray product, and boy does he leave his bros behind as soon as he acquires some Axe. The commercial has 3 cavemen who are startled by some attractive cave women. The main caveman goes through a series of unintentional convenient events that make him look like a bad boy, attractive to all the cave women around. His friend drops a rock, cracking it and revealing Axe Lynx inside of it, which he sprays on himself to accentuate his look and ride off on his prehistoric motorcycle. This man just abandoned his friends, one of which found the body spray before the main caveman. At least bring your friends along for the ride. Perhaps introduce them to one of your many fans, or at least give credit to the one that discovered the body spray that won't exist for millions of years in a prehistoric stone, or I guess a modern stone to them. Maybe you should take note from your industry rival, the Old Spice Man, who takes the route of confident rather than arrogant by giving his fellow man advice on how to be as manly as he is in certain commercials and online campaigns. Number 8. The Bad Apple for Apple Jacks Cereal. This guy thinks he can ruin Apple Jacks cereal by making them taste like the flavor that the cereal's name implies. In his commercials, he's racing a Jamaican cinnamon stick named Cinnamon to see who can make it to the cereal bowl first to give Apple Jacks its cinnamon or apple flavor, with Apple always losing. That being said, unlike other mascots that spend their ad time trying to take possession of the cereal that they ironically are the face of, Apple feels like he's entitled to making the cereal flavored after himself. At least with mascots like the Trix Rabbit, he's trying to take the cereal to enjoy it without corrupting its flavor to taste like rabbit. The apple eventually became friends with the cinnamon due to ambiguous reasons, but likely because of pressure to make the apple look more benevolent. Certain organizations, like the Children's Advertising Review Unit, thought the apple was sending a negative message about real fruit to children. Afterwards, the ads consisted of them starting a friendly race to the bowl to determine the cereal's flavor. However, the apple's hubris still showed, like when he called Cinnamon to tell him about his first victory over Cinnamon, only to savor the moment for too long and lose instead of jumping right in the bowl like a competent mascot. Though now he's not as angry about his loss since he lost to a friendly rival rather than an arch enemy. Number 7. The Geico Pig. This pig started off as a gag in a different series of Geico commercials, but apparently he was popular enough to make reoccurring. I can't quite pinpoint it, but there's just something I don't like about his personality. Sometimes he has a good joke, but he has this tone that makes him feel like he's so self-centered. This is bolstered by the fact that in every life situation, he feels the need to talk about the Geico app. Why are you talking about the Geico app during a football game? Who checks their information about insurance during a football game? There's also a movie theater ad where he's taking the tickets for everyone entering the theater, and he spoils each movie as he takes the tickets. Wouldn't you get fired if you did that as a theater employee? I don't know if that's arrogant or just negligent. Number 6. Sega Genesis Sonic the Hedgehog. This entry is not talking about Sonic the Hedgehog as a character or any of the Sonic games, but rather how early to mid-90s Sega used Sonic the Hedgehog as a mascot to promote the Sega Genesis. So block off everything else you know about Sonic for this entry. When Sega wanted to show that they were the quintessential gaming system of the 90s, one of their big marketing strategies was putting their embodiment of 90s attitude on everything Sega related, and also things not Sega related. Lifesavers did love promoting Sonic and brand deals. It always looked like he had one eyebrow raised. He had that smirk that never went away, and that index finger saying, nah, Sega's the best. Look at any ad. Just by glancing at him, you can tell he thinks he's always on top, beating out Nintendo. Little does he know Sega would be dropping out of the console race at the turn of the millennium, and that Sonic 06 will nah, that's too easy. One day Sonic Boom, no, that's an easy target too. I think he was simply incapable of showing a negative emotion in these advertisements. But he does symbolize Sega's now defunct slogan, Sega does what Nintendo don't. Except competing in the Olympics, Sega very much Nintendo does that. Number 5. Morris the Cat for 9 Lives Cat Food. He was a posh cat whose owner waited on him hand and foot, or more paw and other paw. He was arrogant and full of himself, feeling like he only deserved the best, but that was the point of these ads. He was supposed to be the cat version of a haughty, high-class rich guy whose exquisite tastes can only be satisfied by 9 Lives cat food, which was only the best cat food emphasized by his inner monologue. The commercials made this cat food seem like the equivalent to cat caviar. Cat VR? Overall, I like him since he uses his arrogance for comedy and parody. If that doesn't convince you, what if I told you he was voiced by He-Man himself, John Irwin? Just imagine He-Man as a pompous cat. You can't, the role shouldn't even be compared. Number 4. Punchy for Hawaiian Punch. Look at this smug beverage mascot. While modern versions of Punchy show him as a happy surfer boy who likes to wear a red hat and drink fruit punch, the original Punchy showed how he got his name, and it's not only for his love of drinking fruit punch. In his first appearance advertising the brand, he happily skips up to this unsuspecting guy, just casually enjoying his day. He asks the man, "How about a nice Hawaiian Punch?" When a brand mascot offers you a free sample of his own product, that is a high honor, so of course you would accept it. However, it was all a ruse and a pun, since the mascot punches him right in the face and skips away, proud of his action with that conceited look on his face. And it's not just a little tap punch, it's a full-on, close-fisted punch right in the center of the nose. Is this what happens when I open a can of Hawaiian Punch? Punchy continued to do this in commercials into the 90s before he saw various calmer redesigns and throwbacks, though his legacy will always be preserved with that facial expression that graces his retro artwork. Number 3. The Etrade Baby for Etrade. The Etrade Baby is not arrogant because he's a good investor. No, he's arrogant because he's a smart baby and knows he's a baby. He's basically bragging that he's a baby with better money management skills than us, the viewer. People with real life experience and money that he did not have before should probably be saving the way he does. You really see this attitude in a commercial where his friend is trying to win money with a scratch-off lottery ticket. His friend expectedly loses, and the baby sarcastically makes his surprised face. You love to rub salt in the wound, don't you? Number 2. Mr. Al for Tootsie Pop. He is from a classic commercial that played well beyond 1969 when it was first created. Mr. Al has naturally become Tootsie Pop's mascot due to his iconic action of consuming a lollipop by biting it. The boy in this commercial wants to know how many licks it takes to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop, so he goes around asking various talking animals. First he asks a cow, which was cut from later versions, who admits he never made it to the center without biting, telling the boy to go ask the fox. Thank you for telling the truth and not wasting our time. Then the boy asks a fox, also cut from later versions, who says the same thing as the cow, telling the boy to go ask the turtle. Once again, thank you for not wasting time. The turtle says he could also never make it without biting and to go see the owl, sealing the boy's fate for never getting his question answered. The owl accepts the Tootsie Pop to help answer the question, but you can tell by the look on his face that he's just using this opportunity to get a free lollipop. He bites it after 2 legitimate licks and smugly says it takes 3 licks. I'm not sure if these animals are in cahoots with each other or if the owl is just the only one that uses questions by gullible kids to get free lollipops, though you can tell by just looking at him that he knows he's the wise owl. He did not get that title for truthfully telling kids about candy products. Geico Insurance may have indirectly influenced number 1 by using many mascots until they burn out, relying on the consistently popular ones. Number 1, the Progressive Insurance Box, is following that formula. He's a spin-off character from one of the Flo Progressive commercials. We never actually see him in a commercial starring Flo, but apparently he's a sentient box who's an actor playing one of the boxes you see in the Flo advertisements, as pointed out by him during his introduction commercial. Yeah, they get meta in these ads. However, when this box is not playing insurance deals, he's living a high-class celebrity life, and he knows it, and he makes sure we know it. Nothing really bad ever happens to him. It seems he's supposed to be mirroring fame and the arrogance that comes with being a not-so-humble celebrity. His commercials also chronicle his various gigs like music videos, and a spot on an alternate version of The Bachelor with a pretty funny punchline where he chooses himself as his own love interest to parody his own egotism. His overconfidence comes from Progressive telling us he's famous, rather than bringing him back due to being in a popular commercial like what Geico did with the pig. Either way, he's mostly meant to be a satire on the superiority complex one may develop with fame, making him sort of the physical embodiment of arrogance as well as insurance discounts. And that makes him my number 1 on this list. So what did you think? Agree? Disagree? Are there any egotistically arrogant product mascots I did not put on this list? Either ones that get on your nerves or you enjoy watching the journeys of? Let me know. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.